today I'm going to be talking about things that I wish I knew when I started college. And I'm still currently in college. I'm actually double majoring in psychology and animation. That's another long story. So yeah, let's get into the video. The first thing that I would say is to prepare yourself, because you will have existential crises. And what I mean by that is that you will cry a lot. My first semester, I decided I wanted to transfer, and I had an existential crisis back then because a lot of my transfer credits didn't actually transfer into my new university, so that made me kind of question everything that I was doing. In the end, I did choose a major that I want. And this goes to my second tip, which is know what you want to study before, but also you might change your mind and you might not plan to, but it just happens and it's okay. I mean, most college students are like really young, and like, how can colleges expect for 17, 18-year-olds to know what they want to do for the rest of their life? That's insane. I mean, I thought I knew what I wanted to do when I was 18, but now I'm in my 20s and I question that every single day. So if you change your major, or if you change your mind and you decide, you know what, this major wasn't what I expected, or it's just not what I want anymore, and if you still have time to change your major and have, you know, the, I guess, motivation and I guess resources to do so, then just don't be too hard on yourself, because at the end of the day, you're young and you're gonna change your mind sometimes, and that's okay. And you might learn a lot of things from your old major that you can put into your new major, or just look at your mistakes as kind of an opportunity to grow. Because, for example, I've always loved to draw, and I was a fine arts major, but I decided that I hate, I know this is bad, but I hate being told what to do in terms of art or drawing, and I found myself taking a lot of classes with some professors that were very subjective in how, I guess, they grade. They wouldn't like people's styles, and they wanted us to conform to the professor's styles, and they would give us bad grades if we didn't like conform or do our projects in their style. And that's when I really had a problem with that, because I feel like they should help us grow. Our own art style is what makes us who we are. If we change who we are and change our style to somebody else's style, then that's not us. Yeah, I changed my major because I just didn't really want to do it anymore. I wanted to be true to myself, and I didn't want to change my art style to my professor's art style. If I sticked with my own style and turned in my work like that, they would give me a bad grade. But some professors are really good with that. Like they try to not be as subjective, but it's really hard because art is subjective. Sometimes you find what you want to do in the most serendipitous, I guess, unlikely ways, and that's okay. And if you realize that you need to change your major but you're hard on yourself, just remind yourself that it's okay to kind of change paths, because it'll end up where you actually are meant to be. Yeah. Okay, so another tip that I have is, this may seem kind of obvious, but I was very naive, and it is to visit your campus before you actually decide to go to that campus. Because for my transfer university, I didn't have the resources to visit the campus beforehand. My parents just didn't have time to take me, and I didn't have the money to like just drive over there because it was a really long drive, and I couldn't afford a flight, so I didn't go. But I did research a lot into it, and I don't regret it now, but I wish that I had visited beforehand just to know the campus and to be a little bit more familiar before I actually started classes there. Look up your professors before you register, because sometimes some professors are harder on grading than others, so I think it's really helpful to look up your professors. I usually use ratemyprofessor.com, and I'll go ahead and link it down in the description. Okay, another thing is that if you're going to be commuting to your university and you're going to be using your car, it's going to be expensive. Parking passes, at least in the universities I've been to, are very expensive. For my first university, I paid $350 for parking because all of the other parking passes were taken. They had already sold out, and like there was no other way I could park. I tried to park like by the houses super far, but even then they still didn't let you park. You had to actually like live there. But anyways, I paid a lot of money and it was not fun. It was very expensive, and even if I paid for the parking pass, it still took forever to find parking because they sold more passes than there were spots for us. So usually I would have to get there like very early, before like 30 minutes before my class started, to just find parking. Okay, I never told you this, okay? If anyone asks, I didn't tell you this, but you can actually find some textbooks online for free as PDFs, and I'm just gonna say, okay, just look it up as a PDF, and that will save you a lot of money on textbooks. A lot of books aren't available like as PDFs, but some I found that they are, and I've saved hundreds of dollars from just finding them online. But I never said this, okay? So another thing is that if you don't receive scholarships, or you do receive scholarships but you want maybe extra funding because your tuition hasn't paid off yet, or you need extra money, you can actually reach out to your department head, because sometimes they actually get funding for students but they don't know who to disperse it to, because sometimes it messes with like people that have work study and they can't just like get handed out to everyone. So if you need extra funding, you can reach out to your department head to see if maybe they have any scholarships available that you can apply to, or sometimes you don't even have to apply to them. Sometimes all you have to do is have like a certain amount of GPA and maybe take certain credit hours. One of the last things that I want to say is that grades are not everything. And I know you're like, okay, hold up, GPA can be very important. This is the truth that I found to me. A lot of professors are more hard on grading than others, and sometimes grades can be very subjective, especially if you're studying something creative. I am studying animation, and sometimes, like I said, with my experience as a fine arts student, this also goes in hand with my experience as an animation student. Many professors, they are subjective too. I found that some classes are super easy to get an A in, and then some are you really have to work for it. And my thing is that if you get a C in a class and you feel super discouraged and super hard on yourself, try to remember that you can look at it as an opportunity to, I guess, grow and maybe improve. Sometimes getting a bad grade might kind of make you feel really discouraged, and you might have the urge to drop out because you feel like you can't do this anymore. But trust me, you can. Maybe this was just a course that didn't work with you, or it's just the teaching style maybe was different than what you usually succeed in, or the teaching style was different to the teaching style that you prefer. Some classes are just designed differently, and if you get a bad grade, it's okay, because it does not reflect who you are as a person. It's an opportunity to, I guess, know what you're good at and know what you're not. And if you're not good at something, it doesn't mean that you can't still be interested in it, or that you can't like work on it. And you can always try to maybe plan or try better the next course that you have. Just don't get discouraged. I know it can be really tough, especially in college, but you can do this, and I believe in you. I believe in you. Something else that I want to say is that college can be very chaotic. At least for me it was, because I was working and I was also full-time at school and working part-time. So it was definitely tough to manage my time and also kind of have self-care. And I know I should take my own advice. Do your hobby, you can read a book, you can light up a candle and just chill, you can take a bath, you can paint, literally anything, or you could literally just sit in silence and think about life. I've always been really shy, but in high school, for some reason, it was just so much easier to make friends, because maybe you had the same friend in like a few of your classes and you just saw them more often because you could sit with them at lunch. But in college, it's just so much harder, because your friends are probably in different majors, so you don't have them in your classes, or they're even in like different colleges and went away. And even in orientation, you make friends, but then maybe they meet other people, and then you just don't connect with them anymore. Look up some organizations that you may be interested in, or some clubs, and that may be a lot easier to make friends if you have a club or organization that you go to. If you find yourself eating $1 ramen every day, it's okay, because we're on a budget and it's hard. It's hard. I have to pay tuition like every month. I'm in the payment plan and I'm working, and I'm on a very tight budget, so it's okay if you want to eat $1 ramen. Just remember that it may mess up your stomach but it's okay, because we're on a budget and we're gonna get through it. Okay, we're gonna get through it. One day we'll be out of this school that has caused so much turmoil, and